The Morning Wave on Mix 93.8.
This morning we're joined by client experience partner at King Price, Wynand Van Vuuren. Wynand, welcome to The Morning Wave. How are you, sir?
Very well, and you, Sam?
Wonderful, wonderful. First and foremost,
nice talking to you.
Yes, absolutely. I always have to ask my guests what they're up to. Are you sitting back with your feet up, enjoying a cup of coffee?
So now I'm actually in the office at King Price. You must, when you pass here in Menlyn and Pretoria one day, you must come past.
Yes.
It's the most beautiful, stimulating offices. So it's quite fun for me here. It's also noisy. So I quickly had to run into a meeting room here just to get a little bit of silence.
Buzzing.
A lot of energy. It's really nice here. You must come past one day.
Wonderful. Wynand, it might be straight after my show today, looking for a bit of company. So be careful what you ask for, sir. So Wynand, first and foremost, before we get into our conversation, what is your role and what are you responsible for?
So I'm the client experience partner here at King Price. We continuously looking for, new alternate, different ways of doing business, doing insurance. And if you've learned a bit about King Price in the past, we're not only in insurance, we're also very proud to say that hashtag making a difference, that it goes further, trying to make life a little bit easier for people around us and to support people and companies. I don't know if you know, but nearly half of the shareholding in King Price is in a company that's fully devoted to helping unprivileged people and making a difference out there. And it's so nice for us to be involved, in a company that's doing that.
Absolutely. So Wynand, let's get into the conversation around, what I spoke about earlier. How are South Africans, or how can they rather stay warm, keep safe and warm this winter, considering, those things that I spoke about, the extensive load shedding, the use of alternative heating sources. What are your recommendations and suggestions?
Yeah, it's our country is very stimulating if you look at all the challenges that we face daily. And now suddenly, with the load shedding, it's not so easy anymore. You just can't plug your oil heater in like every year that that is safe and, keep it running right through. Electricity is expensive in any event when it's working. And now we're also sitting with the load shedding, and we've seen people going to alternatives. You can't believe it. There's even some people still where there's fire damage, a claim comes in, and says, so what happens? Says, no, I lit some candles, in this whole process of the load shedding, and that unfortunately fell over and set the place alight. So there's those funny things that we do, candles is something that we saw in the old days. Now something romantic on the table. Now suddenly it's, a lot of people are making use of it again. So we've got those challenges, and one should be very careful with all those appliances. We see some of them also coming in. You can get them for cheap. It's a gas heater, and it's actually dangerous for that thing to stand too close to something that can catch fire before you know it, or you're not in that room at that moment. And by the time that you realize that, listen, this heater set the place alight, the fire can be so far that you can't be able to distinguish it anymore. So be very careful with all those appliances. Rather make sure that the house is closed, that you keep everything that gets it cold, the windows and so are closed, and make sure that if you can rather go on with a blanket or something like that you rather avoid using appliances. But if you do, we're always going to do that. Make sure that you read the instructions, you keep it away from something that can set it alight. And then people are also going to this alternative use generators and solar systems to keep to keep us warm and keep electricity going. A generator, very important. You can't just install that thing yourself. Make sure that you get a proper certified person, electrician that can come and first also show what is his qualifications. You can phone the Department of Labor. Make sure that he is accredited to do that job for you, and that the installation is going to be 100%, and that can't maybe set your place alight.
Wynand, what I'm thinking about is, it's all good and well to think of, all these various alternatives, but the first thing we always think about is how much does it cost? Is this going to be cost effective? But I think what's so important about this conversation is that we also have to look at things from a safety point of view. You know, how safe is this? How safe is it for myself, for my children, etc.? What are the sort of safety measures that we have to take, which I think is quite important to consider. Wynand, a two-part question here. In terms of insurance, and we're looking at things like fire damage, etc., does homeowners insurance cover fire damage? And then also, what is the difference between home contents versus building insurance?
Yeah, so one must make sure that you know exactly what you're covered for. So go and take your policy, your policy wording. Your insurer must send that through to you, and your schedule that they also send through. And go and have a look, read it, and make sure you understand it. What's nice in these days, it's not that insurance, contract of the old days that doesn't make sense. You don't understand the terminology and everything. So the regulator is working daily with all the insurers to make sure that everything that you say there is the normal person on the street can understand that. So read it. Make sure that you can see the happenings, the causes that can cause damage. Now, that fire is included there. Then you know if something happens in your house, the whole place can burn down. You will enjoy that cover.
Yeah.
So be careful. Not every policy wording that's saying it's comprehensive out there and it's going to cover you for everything really covers you for everything.
Don't just sign.
Make sure that you read the policy and that you understand exactly. And then thereafter, you go and you look for the exclusions part and you make sure that you're happy with everything that is excluded there.
Fantastic.
And then if fire is included, then you know that you're covered for it. Your insurance must cover the fire. And then you've referred to home contents and building. That's two separate policies.
Okay.
If you want cover for the contents, everything that is in your house, I always explain it. I said, listen, if you could turn your house upside down, everything that will fall out must be included in your contents cover. You can't just go and say, listen, okay, I'm only going to cover myself for 100,000 Rand if the value of all the items, the replacement value of all the items will be 300,000, because then you will be underinsured. Make sure that everything, you go and make a list for yourself and you go and have a look at the replacement value of all those items, your television and your couches, not what you paid for it 30 years back. Then you know that you're correctly covered for that. Then there must be a second cover that you have for your building. Your building can also burn down, and also make sure that the rebuilding cost of your building is what your house is also insured for. It's very easy. You can get a builder and say, listen, with my finishes, what will it cost per square meters to build this place? And you just times it by the squares of the property, and then you know that you're also correctly insured there.
Good.
And you can sleep, without any worries.
Wynand, one of the things that I was actually just thinking about is, because we've been talking about load shedding and the power cuts and the blackouts and all those types of things. But lastly, things like power surges, are they a significant factor in these home fires? And perhaps maybe you could give us a bit of a stat in terms of what percentage of firehouse claims you guys attribute to power surges.
Yeah, so it does make a big difference in the short-term insurance, especially now with such a lot of load shedding that we deal with. So what happens there is there are two damages caused when that power surge comes back on. When the electricity comes back on and it pushes that extra amount of power through, that power surge damage electronic items, and that is from fridges, dishwashers, hi-fi systems, all computer equipment, all those electronic equipment. You can protect yourself also by making use of USB, the surge protectors that you can buy. I see you get them in many more shops now. You just plug it into the wall and make sure that you plug your appliance into that first, and then you know that will protect you from the surge. And then it can also happen that some of that electronic equipment, we see it in our claims, when that it comes through, it can't handle all that electricity and it catches fire, and that specific appliance burns out, or it causes a fire that can burn the house down. And then if you've got proper insurance in place, King Price give that cover to our customers. Then you know, if something like that happens, you do enjoy cover for that.
Lovely.
And make sure that you read in your policy that cover is included.
Yeah.
If it's not, then talk to your broker or talk to another insurer and make sure that you get that on cover.
Wynand, thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. And if anybody wants to get hold of you, how can they do so?
It's very easy. You can just go onto our website, kingprice.co.za, and all the information is on there. We are accepting new clients with open arms and do our best to keep the premiums low.
Wonderful. Wynand, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll chat soon. Have a wonderful day further.
Thank you, Sam. Have a nice day.
Wonderful. Wairangi, client experience partner at King Price, Wynand Van Vuuren. Of course, we're talking about load shedding, power cuts, generators, gas heaters, and that sort of thing. And all I wanted to know from Wynand is it safe? Should I do this? I don't even think I know how to switch it on.
Really?
No, I don't even. I mean, the guys came in, they just delivered the gas cylinder, and I was like, well, while you're here, can you install this thing for me, please? Can you do that for me?
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
The Morning Wave on Mix 93.8.